Thank you very much indeed. I'm very happy to be here. Despite what's written in the programme, I'm actually talking about the EGI Federation, or EGI, not the foundation. But fear not, I'll actually say what the differences are on the first slide. I work within the EGI Foundation as the Service Delivery and Information Security Lead, delivering services. I've been there for about 10 years. Before that, I worked at RAL, at the original Grid Operations Support Centre, which was getting ready for first data taking from the Large Hadron Collider. It was a very worrying period of time. Then I went on to work within the RAL Tier 1 itself. So I work from home in Oxfordshire. So even though my perspective is very much from Europe, Britain is very close to my heart, so I'm very happy to be here. First of all, the Federation is the actual infrastructure. It's coordinated by the EGI Foundation. So this is a not-for-profit foundation based in Amsterdam, and this does all of the coordination activities of the Federation itself. So there's always a bit of a confusion from people. What is EGI Foundation? What is EGI Federation? Which is why now we just call ourselves EGI and quite neatly circumvents the problem. Looking back to the start in 2010, this was the beginning when we were really taking over the services from the worldwide computing grid and making them available from the initial start from the high energy physics to many more different communities. And that brings us to now when we have upwards of 250 different communities. So EGI infrastructure. Initially, as I said, we were very much single-oriented to one community. Now we have many. Initially, there was the grid, which is called the High Throughput Compute, the HTC. Since 2015, we introduced the Cloud Compute. And then since 2024, we are introducing different HPCs. So this is really moving from one perspective to a whole different continuum of different compute. First of all, I would like to discuss a little bit about what EGI is from the point of view of the service provider. So for this, we need to look at the core, the federating services, the back-end services from the point of view of the user. It's the glue, what keeps everything together, keeps everything ticking over. Yesterday, Peter referred to these as the boring free services. Yeah, from the end user point of view, they are boring because they really don't care about these. They just want to do their science. However, without these services, we cannot federate. That's why they're important. They are free from the point of users. They are very not free from our point of view. We need to spend money to make sure that these services are continuing. So in fact, that brings me to one very important recommendation. Know what your federation services are. A, ensure you have a business model in place to ensure the delivery of these services, and B, to actually make sure you can continue developing new functionality in these services. Within EGI, we make use of the member fees to ensure that these services are delivered. And traditionally, we've made use of EC projects to actually introduce new functionality in them. So this is the balance that we have. Just to go very quickly through some important ones. So we have, for example, coordination and support, technical coordination, communications. These are the more human side services. Very important is the security coordinations one, which in fact STFC and other sites in the UK are involved with. They're also involved with some of the technical tools, so for example, the accounting and the configuration database, the GOTDB, if you know about EGI terminology. really shows what the snapshot of the Federation is, the information about what is out there, the status of the different services, are they production, are they in potential downtime, registered downtime, who the people are behind the different services, who the security contacts are. So these are the configuration information which we need to know. Again, the end users don't care about this, but this is very important for delivering the services. And then there is the security and identity services, check-in and attribute management. Moving from the perspective of the service provider to the perspective of the end users. So these are the services that end users can use, the infrastructure services at the bottom, high throughput compute, cloud compute, software distribution, etc. And the federated access services. Users can make use of these services either directly or through the council members, depending on the capacity allocation, and sometimes both. We have to be flexible. We negotiate access, and sometimes it grows organically. So let's move forward to EGI as an innovation community. We have a very large number of different projects that we are involved in. So we are involved in coordinated projects and community participated projects. So we're not only an infrastructure, but we are an engine or an accelerator for innovation, and it's through these projects that we are able to do this. In fact, this was a snapshot at the end of last year. We now have results of our latest bids, and we've got, I think, about 10 or 11 new projects which are starting up this year. So we're very active on this side as well. One interesting project I'd like to mention is the science project, which I think is mentioned down there on the right-hand side and in slightly small font. So this is the first project within Raise AI. So Raise AI is a new virtual institute, a flagship institute initiative set up under the Apply AI strategy of the EC. So it's a project involving us, the EGI Foundation, and others, including the University of Manchester. And the main outcome or the output of this project is to feed the AI strategy into the SRIA, the Strategic Research and Information Agenda. At this point, I'd just like to add an extra slide, which I put in quite late, just to focus in on one very key service that we have, which is the EGI check-in. I said before that it's important, and it really helped us to move from just serving the HEP to multiple communities, because access is absolutely critical. You know, you need to be able to give somebody who wants to make use of multiple services the means to do that, the federated identity. So these are the main features on the left. No time to go into them, but I would like to say a few words about how we make use and deploy EGI check-in. So there is one shared instance for EGI that all council members and represented organisations can make use of immediately. We also offer the possibility of dedicated federation instances as and where that's required. I think that there are a couple of instances of check-in that we've now deployed. One of them is for the GRNet EOSC node. There was some talk about EOSC yesterday. EGI is very much involved in EOSC at different layers. And we have provisioned an instance for the Greek node for this at GRNet. And we also have another instance for testing cross-use cases across the different first wave of nodes of the EOSC Federation. And this is being done, I believe, in the EOSC Beyond project. So we've got an instance set up, and they're all being used to test things across the different nodes. So let's move into looking at the future. Many of the EGI main users are from the research infrastructures, and many of them we support through service delivery, through participation in the Federation, which is helped by MOUs and also via joint R&D programs. from HTC compute to compute data continuum. So we're really trying to respond to the large-scale needs of the user communities here with more and more data at exascale. We've moved from the initial HTC through FedCloud, further developing its operations models and tools from HTC. And more recently, the shift is really through to this computer data continuum, where we see a relocation of the computing to where the data is. This was mentioned a few times yesterday. So the most important project through which we're doing this and building this continuum, which links into the SKA and also the Large Hadron Collider High Luminosity, is the Spectrum project. And I think I've got a slide here about Spectrum. This reshapes the future European infrastructure to this compute data continuum to meet the ever-increasing needs of data and analysis. There is a QR code here. It's not too late to have a look at the project outputs and provide feedback. So please do that if you have a chance to. So I'm come to about the end. Slide, my recommendations. I've touched a few of them. In fact, the very first recommendation struck me this morning. Remember when I talked about EGI? Get your branding right. If you're building an infrastructure, make sure the end users know who you are, and what you're actually delivering. So I think that's actually a very important first recommendation. Pretty trivial, but there you have it. Having a consistent and working AAI, in our case, EGI check-in, is absolutely essential. Knowing what your federation services are, your portfolio of federation services is very important. So, for example, the help desk, security, AEI, CMDB, etc. This enables for economies of scale. People don't really like running these services unless you're actually running them. You don't care too much about them, you don't particularly want to run them, but they are needed. If they're run centrally, that means the different participants in your infrastructure don't have to run them themselves. So get those services in place and also work out your business model for running them. IT service management. You can't have me up at the front without talking about IT service management. I work a lot in it. This is a very important aspect, I think. This was, I think, touched upon in the previous talk from Alberto when he talked about the policies. We deal with this within our IT service management. Having a federated IT service management in place is essential. EGI has been involved for many years in this, I think even back to 2012-ish, when we came up with the original FedSM, which then became FitSM, which is a boiled down version of ITIL in a way that's completely free. You can download it, you can have a look even at the training materials. You don't have to pay a penny for it. You can train up your people to use it. And it enables you to get off the ground with the very short, simple requirements for the different processes that should be there. So having the glue to make sure that service delivery is done in a way that makes sense across different coordinating, participating organisations is a must. It enables you to deliver high quality services. We do this through SLAs. When you first, in my experience, when you talk about SLAs to research communities, when you talk about them to service deliverers, they do not like you talking about SLAs. They think it's all to do with legal. It's not. It's merely specifying what your target levels of service are, monitoring, having the monitoring infrastructure there to make sure you are delivering the services at these levels. And if you're not, well, you try to put things into place to make sure you are next time round. We have lots of SLAs established within EGI, and we have regular reviews of them where we discuss with the people, the different organisations who we're delivering services to, what the status of these services are. So I would suggest this is very important indeed. My final takeaway message is you don't exist alone, even if you're setting up a national infrastructure. Look at how you can properly interact with other infrastructures as well. Make sure the commonalities is there. So I think that was my last slide. My very last one is a shameless plug for our next conference, which is EGI 2026 in Belgium. There are lots of co-located events there as well, so please do take a look. Thank you.